Okay, hello. I'm doing this on my phone because I've had so much tech trouble today. Lots of fun. Anyway, the reason I am here speaking with you today is because I did a little poll on my Instagram stories to see what you most wanted to hear me do another free workshop on. And the most popular answer by a mile was this one, which is fear. How to cope with fear, how to deal with fear. And that really didn't surprise me because fear touches all of us, no matter where you're from, who you are, what you're doing. Every single human being experiences fear. And the reason that every single human being experiences it is the same reason why we need to work on overcoming it. Okay, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So, the reason that we all experience fear is what I want to start talking with you about. Because so often, and I think this is even more so if you're in the online world of spirituality or manifestation or anything like that, there is such a focus on positivity, and fear often brings up negative experiences and fears for us. And so not only do we worry about actually being afraid, we also then worry about the emotion that that creates within us. And so it all just feels like something we want to completely avoid. So I want to start off by talking about why human beings are affected so much by fear. And it actually starts with the fact of how our brains have evolved over time. So stay with me on this, right? Um, I know that you probably are aware that there was a time in human history where human beings had literal fear of death facing them each day. You know, saber-toothed lions, ligers, lions and tigers, other predators, which, you know, they had to manage and avoid and deal with, because if they didn't, there was an actual chance of it affecting their survival. And so the human brain is a really adaptable, amazing piece of technology. And what it does is it evolves to its environment. But evolving takes a really long time, right? So I'm talking like millions upon millions of years. Don't quote me on that. But it's a long time. And what's happened is that our brains evolved to live in a time where there was genuine fear of predators and other things that would threaten our survival. And so our brains um, grew and evolved and developed to be able to handle that. And what it did was create the experience of fear. And when fear was triggered, so when the lion was there, the fear was triggered, what would happen is there would be a rush of adrenaline, loads of chemicals would be released throughout the body, and those things would give the human being the fuel to fight or run. Hopefully, they chose run most of the time. And so, what's happened is that there hasn't been long enough. You might be thinking, God, you know, that's hundreds of thousands of years ago that human beings were living like that. Why would my brain still be working that way? But the thing is, evolvement takes a really long time. The brain to change takes millions of years. So even if this was thousands of years ago, our brains are still running on the same levels of fear and what it needed to keep us safe at that time. So even though there are now no predators, even though really in our everyday human lives there isn't actually anything to be scared of, our brains are still firing the same fear responses and it causes the same flood of chemicals. The problem is that those chemicals have no way of being released, so we hold them in our systems. It causes stress. It's really linked to loads of other things that I'm not going to go into right now because I want to keep this short and sweet for you. So we're still having that same fear response. Now, The problem that I see us doing as human beings now is that we're trying to get rid of the fear. We don't want to feel afraid, because if we feel afraid, it brings up emotions of something is wrong, this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to, I want to push it away, I want to escape, when really there is actually no need for that level of fear. So the important thing is that we stop trying to rid ourselves of fear, because you're fighting your brain's evolution if you're trying to do that, and that no one's going to win that battle, right? So the most important thing you could do is actually accept the fact that you feel fear and thank your brain for trying to keep you safe. And so this might sound kind of weird, but something I do a lot is I actually speak to my brain, because it just helps me to calm down. And so I'll say something like, oh, hey, brain, I see that you are firing a fear response right now because I'm going to do this thing that we haven't done before and it feels scary. And I just want to let you know that we're going to do it, and it's okay if we're scared while we do it. We're not going to die. And so I just provide myself with that level of reassurance, because when the brain fires that fear response, the physical sensation is the same level as fear, as if your life is being threatened. And so this shows up in things where there actually really is no threat. There is no fear of dying. There is no fear of being in pain. And the and that's the problem, isn't it? Is that because the response is the same, our brain is tricking us into thinking that there is an actual physical fear of something's going to happen. So when you think about changing careers or writing a book or starting a blog or doing whatever creative, exciting thing you want to do that's different and new, and your brain treats it in the way as if there is a saber-toothed tiger chasing you, then you cannot help but experience these emotions of terror and not wanting to do it and feeling like it isn't right. And so because we don't understand that that's what's happening, so many of us will sit with this feeling of something just isn't quite right, it doesn't quite feel right, it's not the right time. We'll make excuses to try and avoid the fear and the pain associated with that fear. The cure for this is not a quick fix, right? But at the same time, it's a really quick fix, but it takes practice. So the cure is not being afraid of the emotions. So allowing fear to be with you as you change your life. Allowing fear to be with you as you take the step, and speaking to it, speaking to your brain, oh yeah, hi fear, there you are, of course you're here because we're doing something new and it reminds you of the tigers, but there's no tigers, we're safe. And you get to change the response that you have to fear. So instead of you having an automatic fear in your brain and being like, oh, I don't want to do that because it's horrible and it's scary and it makes me feel uncomfortable and I don't want to do it and I'm not doing it, you instead go, oh, this is fear and I understand what my brain's doing. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. It's okay, even if this doesn't quite go the way I want it to, or even if I don't quite get the response that I wanted or the outcome that I wanted. I'm not going to die. We're not going to be in pain. We're not going to be physically harmed. I'm actually perfectly safe. And a little bit of discomfort is okay right now, right? So you get to just calm yourself down, because there's really no need to freak out. And you're retraining yourself when you do this. So I just want you to, all you have to do to overcome fear is just bring awareness to the fact that this is what your brain is doing and that you get to choose how you respond to it. You can respond to it in the automatic way, or you can bring awareness and consciousness to it, and you can take steps forward anyway, even when they're scary, because you're training yourself that there isn't actually anything wrong with feeling the feeling of fear. It's just your brain on an automatic response. It doesn't mean something's wrong. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It doesn't mean you can't do it. It doesn't mean you're not good enough. It doesn't mean any of those things, right? This is hard to grasp, so I really hope that it's making sense to you. Feel free to send me an email. It's hello@thewildflowercircle.com, and let me know if this is making sense to you, because I really want you to get this. I want you to get the fact that something can feel scary and still be okay to do. Something can feel scary and you can just go ahead and do it anyway. And it's that, we've all heard feel the fear and do it anyway. But this really is the key to changing your life. It's recognizing that the fear doesn't mean anything. It's just a biological response in your body, in your brain, as part of its evolvement, and you don't have to believe it. Okay, so I hope that helps. I'm probably going to do more on this subject because I think it's really important. And I just wanted to also let you know that if you want help with this stuff, if you want someone to hold your hand and walk you through as you move closer to that fear and you do things that scare you, then I would love to support you in that journey. And you can get in touch with me and we can talk about coaching, or you can visit the website, which is thewildflowercircle.com. All right, I hope that helps, and I'm sending you lots of love. Take care. Mwah.